I'm a used car dealer. Today I'm at a used car dealer auction and I'm going to show you what a dealer pays for a 2012 Toyota Tacoma.
Brandon's new baby.
So I keep seeing headlines in the news and articles, headlines on YouTube, a lot of YouTube videos coming out and saying big automotive price crash, used car market crash, new car market crash, and we're not seeing it. So I've never been one to say that I think we're going to actually have a price crash in the used car market. I think prices are going to go down and they're going to continuously go down, but there's not going to be a sudden drop. There's not any inventory to justify that. But I wanted to give the counter argument just while I'm walking out here through these cars. What do we need to have a price crash in the used car market? And really one market's going to follow the other. So you're going to have, if you have the used car market crash, you're going to have the new car market crash as well. So what do we have to have? We have to have demand dry up. Well, we've already got that, but why aren't prices just absolutely tanking right now? That's because of supply. So even though demand is going way down, supply is really not spiking, at least on the used car market. I know you can argue on the new car market, you're getting these day supply of trucks, especially the Ram 1500s, the Ford F-150s. The availability of those are spiking. And you're going to start seeing on the new car market, at least, that prices start to go down. I would say quite a bit, especially for those trucks. You're already seeing incentives, you're already seeing big drops for these Ram 1500s. And I think Ford, with their F-150s, because they are now approaching or surpassed that 100-day mark, you're going to start seeing a lot more with that. But new car dealers, they're very well funded. They have lots of money backing them that they don't have to be so reactive. They can move in a slower pace to hopefully keep their margins up and to make more money. But used car dealers are not really in that boat. They have to continuously flip cars and then do it on a regular basis to keep their bills paid, keep their floor plans paid. If you don't know what a floor plan is, it's basically like a credit card that dealers pay to, that dealers use to be able to purchase their inventory, and they pay interest on that as the amount of cars that they have sits on their lot and they don't turn them around. But as this demand dries up, it's not really, it doesn't happen the same way in a regular market. The supply and demand works, whereas as your demand goes down, your supply should go up. So the used car market, the reason why it doesn't work in that way is because we actually need demand high to get more cars into the system. So I'm at a used car dealer auction. All these cars are going to be sold today, and I'm gonna get you some prices on a lot of them later on. So what we need for there to be more inventory at these auctions is we need demand to go up. And why is that? So how we get our vehicles is from new car dealer trade-ins. And when a customer goes in and buys a new car and they upgrade from their car that maybe they have paid off, they trade that car in. Now that dealer that gets that trade-in, most of the time they do not keep that car. They don't want to keep a 2005 Toyota Camry with 200,000 miles on their new car franchise dealer lot. So what do? They bring it here and they dump it here, and that's how we get our vehicles. So if the new car dealers are not selling cars, our supply is way down, but also demand is way down right now too, because prices are too high and interest rates are too high. So the monthly payments cost too much, even on the used car dealer level. If someone's getting finance for a vehicle that regularly would be like a $10,000 to $12,000 vehicle, right now that vehicle is probably somewhere between $18,000 and $20,000 just because prices are so jacked up right now, and they're still jacked up. So we need a surplus of inventory in the used car market to make cars, the prices crash. And new car dealers aren't going to be selling any more cars in the near future than they are right now, unless they dramatically drop their prices. So you have that supply and demand thing where new car dealers might be getting supply and their demand's going down, but because their demand's going down, used car dealers, their supply is going down even as demand's going down. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's the way that used car dealer market works, is that if new car dealers, they aren't selling, then our supply goes down. So that just leads me into, I probably should have said it before I went into that ramble, but that leads me to say that what you need for the used car prices to crash is you need more supply into the system. and we're not going to get that. So that's my big argument against why you're not going to see a crash in the used car market, but we're still going to see a trend down. Now, I know what you're saying. There's a lot more repos. I've even covered it on my channel. We're seeing tons and tons of repos enter the system, but with these repos, a lot of them are just not sellable. So a lot of these repos that come in, they're absolutely trashed. Dealers don't really want to buy them, and I would say overall, of the percentage of repos that actually come in, I would say 15 to 20% are vehicles that a dealer would actually want to buy and don't have to do significant work to them to get them ready to be able to sell on their lot. So repos are not the answer. So one last thing that you really need to have a significant price crash in the used car market is you need dealers dropping out of the system. Now here's where you could possibly argue that a price crash could come from in the next 6 to 12 months. Because all of these dealers that are buying cars right now and have bought cars in the last few months, they've either paid too much for them or they're paying too much for them right now, and their inventories are starting to stack up. And a lot of these cars, they cannot get out of what they paid for them, especially if they bought them 2-3 months ago, because the prices they've dropped since then. And even at a 10%, a 20% drop in the used car prices, if a dealer paid $10,000 for that vehicle, it's only worth $8,000 today if they bought it a few months ago. So you get to a point where these dealers have to hold on to be able to get out of their cars or make a little bit of profit. And if they're not selling them, then they have their floor plan costs, their floor plan interest go up, and they're continuously having to pay. So as they're not selling and prices are going down, their actual cost of the vehicles are going up, and they cross the line where they have more money in the vehicle than what they can actually sell it for. And depending on how long dealers are going to be stubborn and keep their prices high to try to get out of them and make some money, or get out of them and just break even on them, is going to depend on, maybe in some cases, if they stay in business or go out of business. And this is the one factor that I think one could argue that you're going to see a price crash come from, because as you take dealers out of the system, it's going to provide more inventory for the other dealers that are left, because there's just less buyers in the system. And we're already seeing a lot of that come across the market right now. I know American Car Center, they went under. There's been a few other big dealers that have actually dropped out of the market because their liquidity dried up and they can't get any more investors, because investors know the used car market right now is not a place you want to be. So we'll monitor that as the months go on, and as we see less dealers at these auctions because they're already stocked up and they can't get rid of the inventory that they have. That's where I think I could argue, if you're going to get some kind of major correction, that's where it's going to come from, just from dealers dropping out of the system because the market's just poopy right now. All right, so as always, we're going to walk around the lot. I'm going to find a few cars that I think you might find interesting. We're going to check them out, and then we're going to watch them go through auction, and I'm going to give you some prices at the end of the video. Now, most of the time when I come to these auctions, I usually get way too much footage, enough footage where I can't actually put it all in the video. It just makes the video way too long. So what we're starting now is we're actually going to have a level of a membership where that's where I'm going to dump all this extra footage. So today I gathered some information about like 8 cars. I'm only going to put probably 4 in this video, and the other 4 we're going to throw in our membership section. So if you like this auction footage and you want to see more of it than what I put on the main channel, then check out our membership page, and we're going to start dumping a lot of that auction footage there for you. All right, so this is something very interesting to me, and I think we need to check it. It's a 2020 Ram 1500. So as you know, if you've been watching my channel or even following the car market, Ram days of inventory of their trucks is skyrocketing because no one's buying them, and they're continuously sending these trucks to these dealers. So I would assume we're going to see more of these pop up at auction, because this is a used Ram 1500, and these Jeep, Dodge, Ram dealers, they don't want to keep these on their lot anymore because they would rather sell the new ones. They're getting too many of them, and they're going to take losses on a lot of these newer trucks. So why keep an option like this on your lot when you want to push a customer to a brand new one? So this is a 2020, and it's got 30,000 miles. We're going to check the price on it, but it's just interesting to see, because I believe that we're going to start seeing a lot more of these Ram trucks start to show up at these auctions. There we go. I almost walked right past it. I know if you saw this in the background and I did not check the price, I would get yelled at in the comments. This is 2012 Tacoma, 145,000 miles. Just a little side note, I can easily walk by stuff like this because I'm in the mindset of what am I going to buy for my business, and this would be way too expensive for what we would pay. Doesn't shut. Overall, the inside looks pretty decent. Outside body looks good. It's got a few little paint spots here and there. Good tires. I like the rims on it. It's a 2012 Tacoma, and it's got 145,000 miles. All right, we can sneak up on Alex. He's here checking out cars for us. A 4Runner that we probably can't buy because they go for stupid money.
What's up, people?
Well, they might already hear talking to my chest here.
What's up, people?
There we go. All right. So there's Alex. He is actually going to be checking out cars for us while I am walking around doing a video for you. All right, this one's a good one to check. It's a 2020 Corolla. It's only got 37,000 miles. Looks like it was used on one of these new car dealer lots and they chose to send it here. Probably getting more stock, and that's why they don't have to keep stuff like this anymore. But this one looks great. I mean, it's almost a brand new car. It should look great. Body's good. Interior is good. Interior is good. It's a 2020 Corolla. It's got 37,000 miles. All right, here we go. I try to check any RAV4s when I see them. Everyone's screaming for RAV4s. They're good cars. I love them. This one's got a little bit busted paint right here. It's got 2011. It's got 155,000 miles. Let's go in and check the inside. Outside, I mean, other than the paint, the body looks okay. Inside, a little rough. All right, a little stainage on the seats, parts coming off of the vehicle. But it's a 2011 RAV4, and we'll check to see what it brings. All right, here's one of them. Just want to show you that. That's one of the no sales from today. So I checked out 8 cars for you guys, and we were going to watch them go through the auction and give you prices at the end of the video. So 6 out of the 8 cars that I checked to put on this video either no sold or were put on an if bid, a phone call, meaning that they might have been close or they just needed to contact the seller, but it wasn't just an outright sale in the auction. And that hasn't been happening. I have been saying that no sales have been going up, and that's something we want to see. But this auction, what we just saw right there with those 8 cars, that's exactly what we want to see to get prices to start coming down, because those dealers, they didn't sell those cars in lane, so they're just gonna have to run them next week or run them at a different auction. They'll probably just run them here again, and they'll have to reset their expectations. What usually happens in these cases when you go through a big span of no sales is what happened back in the fall when prices were starting to go down again. So now when this starts to happen, these dealers, they'll run these cars for 2-3 weeks in a row, and then they'll realize, okay, we're not going to get the money that we want for these cars, and then they start cutting them loose for whatever they bring, and that's when you start seeing prices really fall off a cliff. And that's coming just by seeing the amount of no sales going through these auctions right now. All right, price time. The 2011 RAV4 with 155,000 miles. This one was actually interesting to me. It brought $4,200. They said no, and the seller said that it takes $5,000, and the bidder said no, I can't do it, so they just no sold it. But what's interesting is because it's a RAV4, in the last probably 4 months, I don't think I've seen a RAV4 go through an auction and no sell. So very high in demand vehicle, and they couldn't get it done. It didn't bring enough money. So it's very interesting, and that's what we like to see. All right, the 2012 Tacoma with 145,000 miles. It brought $17,700, and it sold. I maybe I'm off base here, but 17 grand, 18 grand for that truck seems like crazy. I know it's a Tacoma. I love Tacomas. This truck looked good. But that seemed like crazy money for that truck. $17,700, and it sold. All right, the 2020 Toyota Corolla had 37,000 miles. It brought 15,000 in lane. There was only one bidder, so only one person even wanted to look at this vehicle for that amount of money. It brought $15,000. Seller said no. and they said that they wanted $21,000. Bidder said no, they couldn't do that, so they offered, okay, I'll go up to $16,000, so only $1,000 more. And the seller, the auctioneer, said, you know what, let's put it on a phone call, put it on an if, and they try to get it done after the auction, but they're so far apart, it's probably not going to get done. All right, the 2020 Ram 1500, I thought it was interesting that it was there. We're probably going to start seeing a lot more of them at the auctions because of the new Ram dealers are just getting stacked up with so much new inventory. They don't want to keep the used trucks on the lot too. It only had 30,000 miles. It brought $28,000, and they said no, can't do it that. And they were $10,000 apart. The seller wanted $38,500 on it. And the auctioneer was just begging with the bidder, say, hey, can you just give me anything else so we can put it on a phone call, put it on an if, but we can't, we're just going to no sell if it's $10,000 apart. So the bidder said, you know what, I can do $30,000, and they put it on an if, put it on a phone call there. But that's definitely not getting done. Somebody needs to get in trouble over that truck, whoever took that in as a trade at these franchise store, or if they bought it from an auction, because they've got way too much money in that truck. I mean, if you think about it, it's a 2020, it's got 30,000 miles on it, and now with all the discounts, and this was just like if I remember correctly, it wasn't like a high-end model. It was like one of the base 1500s. They're about $10,000 off of what it will bring at the auction. So they're eventually just going to have to dump that truck, and that's more of what we want to see from these franchise dealers. For the market to come back down, they have to start dumping stuff for whatever these dealers are going to pay for it. And what you'll notice that will keep happening from here on out, if the prices are going to continue to go down, is that we're going to just continue to see these no sales stack up. And eventually these franchise dealers, they're going to have to cut bait. They're going to have to realize that they paid too much for these trade-ins, and they're just going to get rid of them. They're going to take some losses, and then we'll see after that they'll offer way less for trade-ins. And that's when you'll see the used car market start to come down even more than what it has already, is because they'll be able to sell these trade-ins cheaper at auction. Dealers will be able to pay less money for these vehicles. My dog's barking. We'll be able to pay less for these vehicles, and then we'll be able to sell them less to our customer. So that's how you get the market to correct. That's how you get the market to come down, is franchise dealers have to take less, dealers have to pay less, and then dealers have to, used car dealers like me, have to sell these vehicles for less. If you, the only way you're going to get this the market to come down is if you get those three things to happen, and we're seeing the first stages of it, but now these franchise dealers have to take their medicine, and then we can move on from there. So as these no sales start stacking up, that means prices at the auction are going to go down, and dealers who actually have money to buy cars and want to be buying cars to load up, because they emptied their inventory just like us over tax season, and now we waited till the prices start coming down, we can start buying cars again. So Alex, where'd you go? This way. Alex bought 4 cars today for us, and we're going to go check them out now. So we'll show you what we bought, what we paid for it, and what we're going to sell them for.
We got a 2010 Chevy Equinox, paid $28,000 for it, sell it for $335 or $4,000.
Yeah, $4,000. I want to make a little bit of money on it. It looks nice. Yeah. Actually, I like that color. Looks good. Goodbye. And the buy of the day, the most beautiful car on the lot, this Ford Taurus.
04 Taurus. Paid $500 for it.
$500. I love it.
15 to 2,000.
Yeah. Ford. We just salivate when we see these. I love these cars. All right.
2011 Kia Optima. I bought it for $1,800. I'll sell it for
probably $3,000. Yeah. Looks good. All right, Subaru. We have to see how much dog hair is in this one.
Yeah, it's a 05 Forester. Paid $1,700 for it. Probably $3,000 at the end.
Brand his new baby.
Well, it's going to film it. Oh, wait. So another thing that you need to have a crash is the mic. Yeah, the mic's working. And I just realized there's wind and I don't have the mic, so hopefully this is coming through well. But all right, we centered. Looks like it. Much fewer money, much less money. No. Let's start that over, because I always get that wrong. So I'm just not going to use that terminology. less money, fewer dollars. That's what it is. So that was correct. I'm still not going to use it though. So what ends up happening